In this video, I'm going to speak a little bit about why communicating with microbes is so important, and we'll get a little nerdy with some facts, and then we'll do a guided exercise in communicating with the symbiotic microbes that live in our gut. For this exercise, you'll need to be as comfortable as possible, so warm, hydrated, sitting upright, ideally, and not disturbed for anything between 15 and 30 minutes. I'd also recommend having a journal or some paper with you to take notes or to record your messages through drawing. And in the introductory video, I described what Ecofluency is. And I'll just recap because I shared a lot of information in a very short space of time, which can be too much to remember if you're new to this idea. So Ecofluency is my word for communication with any aspect of nature, using an expanded range of senses and awareness. And of course, this way of communicating exists beyond all languages. So by relearning how to expand and refine our range of sensory awareness, we can dialogue with any aspect of nature in an everyday state of consciousness. And the principles are the same, regardless of which aspects of more than human nature you choose to communicate with. And this applies to plants, animals, trees, insects, rocks, rivers, planets, nature spirits, even microbes, as well as your ancestors, your highest self, everybody else in the universe. And because humans are nature, this is what makes it an inherent and innate skill. And it's simply a matter of recognizing that and then learning to rekindle that ability. So our ability to commune and communicate with nature is not only an ancestral birthright, but essentially a critical skill for our physical, mental, and emotional vitality so that we can grow beyond resilience into a dynamic state of thriving. And vitality is true empowerment because it offers a key to unlocking greater joy and harmony in all of our relationships with ourselves, with other humans, with the rest of nature. Developing your ability to communicate with nature is easier than you'd expect, but the hard part is that is not getting the messages from nature. I mean, we receive information all the time from the rest of nature. Thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations, our intuition, through our imagination and our dreams and so on. And in my experience, the biggest hurdle actually is doubt. And that is a normal part of being human. It's something that happens to me all the time, even after 11 years of experience and practice. So what's the antidote, you might ask? Well, trust. It's as simple as that. And I know that it's easier said than done, but first trusting yourself by starting small with low risk information means that you have a greater chance of receiving validation of the information that you're getting, and then building up accuracy and confidence. You may then question, how do you know if something is projected by you, and what is a real message that you'd get from more than human nature? The quickest way to differentiate this is to take note of the first impulse you get. That's usually the real message. And I'll give you an example. When I first started with animal communication, as a beginner, I once asked a cat what is her favorite food. And I immediately got spaghetti bolognese. And I dismissed it because cats don't typically cook for themselves, and nor do they find this kind of food while hunting, nor are humans likely to give it to them. But it turns out that her human had cooked this once and had given her some, and since then it's been her favorite food. So the weirder it is, the more likely it is that you didn't make this up and that it is a real message. So we're going to do a little exercise. And because we have many other teachers in nature communication, not only worldwide, but including in the summit, both for animals with P. Horsley and plants with Pam Montgomery, I'm going to take this workshop or this little guided exercise to a part of nature that doesn't get nearly enough attention, microbes. Why, you may ask? That's such an obscure area to focus on. It's not only because I have my PhD in microbes, which makes me unusually interested in them. It's mainly because I feel like despite the exponential increase in attention that they've been getting in recent years, they're still underrated and overlooked. So much of the work of interspecies communicators is about meeting plants and animals, which is like meeting long forgotten friends or distant relatives, and they're easier to relate to for many people. And of course, that's the kind of nature communication I focus on in my work as well. But microbes, whether it's bacteria, fungi, viruses, yeasts, other microbial beings that are literally living in and on us, helping us to stay alive, if by not meeting them, it's like forgetting about those who are parts of yourself. So meeting them is like meeting parts of yourself that you didn't know you had, because each of us is an ecosystem, a mini Earth with billions of tiny inhabitants. But first, let's take a quick excursion into nerd territory and look into why microbes are so important. And the reason I do this is, if you're anything like me, your logical or ego-based mind needs to be bribed with some facts before it's ready to give up its role for a little while in being the bouncer to your embodied experience. Now, let's bear in mind that what I'm going to share doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of an enormous body of work. But hopefully it starts to make you a little bit more interested in the world of the smalls, as Dr. Siobhan Watkins calls them. And she's the founder of microanimism. So that's one of the only other people that I know of worldwide who really focuses on direct communication with microbes. So let's start with where they are. I mean, do you know where microbes are? If we think about it for a minute, it's hard to not think of a place. But exactly, they're everywhere, really. That's the short answer. And this is actually a good thing on many levels and for many reasons. They really are everywhere, from your teeth, skin, door handles, food, soil, water, glaciers, bottom of the ocean, meteorites, other planets in the ecosystem, everywhere. They're even in our eyebrows, and I don't recommend Googling it. The images look terrifying, but even though it's totally normal, we've got tiny mites that live in the follicles of our eyebrow hairs. And that sounds icky, but when I studied microbiology during my university degree, I became a germaphobe that took years to recover before I realized this is just absolutely normal and it's really important. We cannot escape them. A University of Tennessee research team has discovered that fungi are even found in the guts of newborns at birth, which was previously thought to be sterile, newborn babies in the womb, in amniotic fluid. And we thought that they only got colonized by bacteria at birth, but it seems as though it's possible that fungal DNA and even live fungi can cross the placenta from mother to fetus as a normal part of pregnancy. So we really can't escape them. Also because they're far more numerous than us. If you take a wild guess at how many microbes there are on Earth, I bet you wouldn't even come close to the real number. And don't worry, nobody can. Just the bacteria on Earth is estimated by researchers at the University of Georgia to be 5 million trillion. That's 5 with 30 zeros after it. And even though bacteria, of course, can cause disease, less than 1% are considered to be potentially dangerous. So that's just looking at the bacteria. That doesn't even include viruses, yeasts, fungi, protists, and other microbial beings. But microbes are morally neutral. A bacterium or a virus doesn't sit inside you and think, oh, I hate this guy, I'm going to kill him slowly from the inside. No, they're just going about their business. They're eating, pooping, reproducing, moving about. They can kill you, or they can keep you alive and just live as a parasite inside you, but it depends on what makes sense for their survival. We are the ones who place judgment on whether they're beneficial or harmful to us, depending on what it is that they do for us. But if they cause you harm, don't take it personally, it's just survival. The truth is that we need bacteria, and Dr. Zach Bush describes how viral DNA in our genomes is what gave us the ability to give mammalian birth. So they're incredibly useful for many reasons. When looking at a tree, for example, you can see the trunk and the canopy and maybe even some roots. But what we don't see are the gazillion bacteria, yeasts, fungi, viruses, protists, other microbes that live on each leaf, each fruit, each fold in the bark, and all the massive wood wide web of fungi, fungal mycelia in the soil that extend the root system symbiotically, which is what researchers like Dr. Suzanne Samad found, or the massive cloud of bacteria in the air around the forests, which help to seed rain clouds, especially over rainforests. So in humans, there's a common statistic that we're made up of about 10 trillion human cells, but 10 times that amount, 100 trillion non-human microbial cells make up our whole ecosystem. And most of those are bacteria in the gut. And those bacteria in the gut do so many things in our body. But some examples are that they digest food for us because they perform a huge number of metabolic functions that we cannot do ourselves, even making vitamins for us. They also support our immune system and they influence our mood by helping to produce the hormones that act as neurotransmitters in our gut. For example, they produce 90 or 95% of the serotonin, I never know which way is the right way to pronounce that, but this is the happy hormone that is often lacking in people who have depression. They produce about 50% of the dopamine, which is the motivational molecule. And they also produce oxytocin, which is considered the bonding hormone. And there are many other excellent studies done by people who have far more patience than me. But my point in sharing all of this is that it makes me wonder and might make you wonder how many of our moods and our thoughts are actually our own, and what role our microbes play in how well we are and what the future holds for us. And since we're an ecosystem, a mini Earth, you're never truly alone. I could go on about this for days and talk about how microbes are messengers for our health, for example, but I'll stop there because you get the picture. Microbes are incredibly numerous, they're everywhere, and that's a good thing, because without them, we wouldn't survive, we wouldn't even have a future. So why not have a conversation with the ones who are yours, who live in and on your body? Because that's your personal landscape, and opening a dialogue with them is the best way of finding out what it is they want to share with us, to help us in becoming healthier and happier, because it's also in their best interest. And it means you can start to co-create your future with your very own personal nature. So let's begin. First, we'll start with the method of presencing ourselves. And this is an exercise that is free, included in the summit, and is also on my website, on the ecofluency.org website under resources. It's something that's developed over the last few years of my own nature communication practice and while teaching. And I include it because our body is one of the best instruments that we have to tune into the deeper intelligence and wisdom of nature. It's the landscape on which our symbiotic microbe family live. The word health, wholeness, and holiness, those words are all related. They all share the same root word, the Old English word halig, which means whole. So your digestive tract is actually a holy place because it's the seat of your health. And therefore, it's a huge part of how you became whole. And becoming whole, therefore, is as much a spiritual and a mental process as it is a physical one. And it can be challenging to listen to our bodies. So please remember to be patient with yourself, gentle, go at a pace that suits your nervous system. I cannot stress this enough. You can stop at any stage of this exercise and do it again later if you prefer. So if you're ready to begin, we'll start with some circular breathing with the earth. Start by sitting or standing comfortably where you are. If you are seated, sit upright or make sure that your back is supported so that you can sit straight. If you're standing, please make sure that your knees are not locked so that the flow of information and energy can go through your body more easily. And the first thing that I invite you to do is to notice how you're feeling in this point. And there'll be a number of points throughout this exercise where you can pause the video and just tune in with what needs to be tuned into. Noticing what thoughts you're having, what emotions you're experiencing, what kinds of feelings or physical sensations are in your body, how intense they are. And you can pause and write these down if you wish to track any changes that might occur after the exercise. Next, I invite you to let your belly be relaxed. Even if it pushes out, nobody's watching you, so it's okay to let it all hang out for a bit. And this allows your diaphragm to fulfill its role in being the primary muscle for inspiration, of inspiration. So as you breathe in, it pulls down, and that fills your lungs, as well as your brain and the rest of your body and your whole self with more oxygen and vitality. And as you breathe out, it pushes back up and pushes the air out of your lungs. So breathe in and out more deeply. And as you breathe in, let your belly button pull away from your spine, expanding your abdomen. As you breathe out, let your belly button pull in, releasing the air out of your lungs in a relaxed way. Avoid forcing it. Allow your in-breath and your out-breath to become equal and to become longer. See if you can breathe in for at least 5 seconds, out for at least 5 seconds. And you can choose also to hold your breath in and out for a few seconds, or you can let that transition be smooth. And you may wish to pause the video now if you want to and play with what feels good for you, what helps you to feel better and more attuned to your body. Next, I invite you to breathe as if the air is coming from the earth and into your body through your heart area, carrying rejuvenating energy and vitality with it. You might know these as chi or prana. Doesn't really matter. The point is, it's the feeling of aliveness that you're wanting to draw in through your heart area from the earth, filling all the parts of you, even those parts that are beyond the physical. When you breathe out, let it flow down through your spine and into the earth, releasing whatever needs to be let go of for her to compost. These can be thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations, or anything else energetic that you wish to release and have transformed. The earth is much bigger and older and stronger and wiser than any human, and our bodies are made of her body. So since she's one of our oldest living ancestors and mother figures, she knows better than us how to compost what we no longer need and turn that into nourishment for others. So let her do that. As you breathe in, draw in the vitality, chi, prana, life force energy that the earth wants to give you, her child, and notice how you're feeling as you receive her support. Also notice how it feels to let go as you breathe out down through your spine into the earth, trusting the earth's ability to transform and transmute what we cannot. You can keep sharing breath with her in the circular manner and ask yourself if there's any message that your body wants to share with you at this stage. And feel into whether you're happy to stay with this and whether you'd like to add the next step or not. For some, it can be a very big step already, transforming our way of breathing, as well as perceiving our relationship with the earth in a different way. If you wish to continue with the next step, I call this the golden bridge. We're going to start to create a golden thread from the base of the spine down into the earth, growing it through intention or visualization or feeling, whatever works best for you. And let this golden thread grow as far down as feels appropriate for you, whether it's just below the surface of the earth, a few 100 kilometers, all the way down to the heart of the earth, or anywhere in between. And choose whether you want it to be a fine thread, a woven cord, or even a chunky rope. Your imagination is the limit to how this golden connection looks and feels. But wherever it ends, let it branch out, becoming like roots that ground you into the earth. And notice how this feels. If you wish, you can also extend this golden thread, cord, or rope up through the base of your spine, out through the top of your skull, and into the sky. Let it grow as far as feels appropriate in this direction, whether it's the outer atmosphere of the earth, the edge of the solar system, or beyond the galaxy to the far reaches of the cosmos. And wherever it ends in that direction, let it branch out like antenna, absorbing energy from the rest of the universe that is aligned with your highest and deepest well-being, replenishing you, filling all of your being and filtering down through you to nourish the earth too. You are a bridge between earth and sky, above and below. And this golden bridge just emphasizes that. So what message, if any, does your body want to share with you now? When you are ready, you could ask what your body needs to feel grounded, safe, clear, healed, rejuvenated, fully present in the here and now. And you can pause at this step and feel into whether you want to revise those steps into the words I've just mentioned, or if you'd like to continue with the next step. If you wish to attune to your microbiome, the symbiotic microbes that live in your gut, set a strong intention to meet them, and that this conversation is going to be aligned with your highest and deepest well-being. As a side note, you can choose whether you want to meet the whole microbial community living with your human body, or just the ones who are beneficial to you. Or you can choose to communicate with the ones who are parasitic or are part of causing disease. It's up to you. It's a bit like choosing to communicate with the whole forest, for example, if you're out in a forest, all the beings who live there, or just certain species of trees, or just one tree, or just the trees and not the rocks, or just the rocks but not the trees, or the animals instead of the trees. It doesn't really matter, but be clear with your intention whenever you choose to have a conversation with any aspect of nature. And choosing your words carefully is important because the information you receive depends on who you're addressing and what you're going to be asking. But for the sake of this exercise, let's focus on the beneficial microbes in our gut. So next, I invite you to bring your attention back to your breath, letting it flow in a circular fashion in through your heart area, down and out through your spine into the earth. And do this for a few breaths. Now focus your attention on your mouth, where your digestive tract starts. And feel your teeth and the roof of your mouth, your palate, with your tongue. Let's see if this light will switch on. No? Okay. Let your attention slide down the back of your mouth, down your throat, and let it be pulsed down your esophagus, your food pipe, into your stomach. Pause at the top of your stomach, where there's a valve between your esophagus and your stomach. Breathe deeply, softening your abdomen, and then moving your attention into and through your stomach. It doesn't matter whether you know where your stomach sits exactly, or if you don't know anything about the anatomy of your digestive system, it's okay. Follow the feeling in your body and just take note of what's happening. At the other end of your stomach is the pyloric sphincter, another valve that connects with your small intestine. Breathe deeply again, and then move your attention into the first part of your small intestine, the duodenum. This is a really important part of your digestive system because it's where the small intestine interacts with the pancreas, the liver, the gallbladder, performing all kinds of alchemy. If you wish, you can pause here for a while, breathing deeply, and notice how you're feeling in your body. Maybe you wish to greet the stomach, liver, gallbladder, pancreas, and small intestine, as well as all the beneficial microbes that live in a symbiotic relationship with you here. If you wish, you could ask them what they'd like to share. What do they like, or what do they need of you for your future to be fully healthy and harmonious with the rest of life on Earth? Be open to whatever comes, and it could be really simple and obvious, like, please drink more water, or we want you to eat less ice cream, or we want you to eat more ice cream. It could be also completely unexpected, like, please eat more bitter things, or we want you to get an abdominal massage, or we want you to do a ritual. Pay attention to any thoughts, feelings, emotions, physical sensations, intuitive senses, or visual images that arise, no matter how subtle. Be curious about what you get, but I invite you to avoid judging or dismissing the messages or jumping to conclusions. If it's any of the things I've mentioned, that's also okay. But if you get something and you're not sure of what it means, you can ask a clarifying question like, I got this. What does that mean? And you're addressing that to your microbiome. Share with them anything that you would like, remembering to keep things simple and heartfelt, even if it's charged with emotion. Use pictures or feelings to convey your meaning as much as possible. And you can pause the video here, spending some time to write things down if you'd like. Next, if you wish, I invite you to move further down your small intestine and letting your imagination be the canvas for the experience. Remembering to breathe deeply and pause along the way to thank your microbes. You'll pass the middle bit, the jejunum. I'm never sure how to pronounce some of these words. And the last bit, the ileum, which connects to the large intestine through the ileocecal valve. The small intestine is a really long organ, anything between 5 and 8 meters long, depending on which studies you look at. And it's neatly packed inside your abdomen, so it's a bit like being on a roller coaster ride when you follow the path of it. And it's filled with billions and billions of bacteria of all kinds, all doing slightly different things. But without them, you'd be dead. Because you can't really digest your food. Your microbes do the work, and you absorb and assimilate what they release. And that includes hormones and other wonderful chemicals that keep our bodies alive and functioning. What is it like to go through this experience? What do you see, hear, taste, smell, feel along the way? How does your imagination translate it? Maybe it's a wild carnival, or a polite dinner party with a really long table, or it's a picnic outside in the sunshine, or a dinner cart on a train ride through the countryside or through the tunnel. Maybe it's none of these things, and you simply experience different emotions or feelings arising. Any of that is okay. Maybe nothing happens that you detect, or you even fall asleep. The microbes who you're connecting with are symbiotic, so it's in their interest to look after you. And it also means that it might be the first time that you've acknowledged them and that they're stunned speechless. However you experience it, that's okay. And there's a valid reason for it. It may be that it's your body's way of managing your nervous system stimulation as you go through such an experience, especially if it's the first time you've done this. It may be different every time you want to do this exercise. When you come to the junction between your small and large intestine, the ileocecal valve, around your right hip bone, pause again and breathe deeply. And as you go slowly through, follow your large intestine up along your ascending colon towards your liver, where it bends, and then continues straight across to your left, and then bends down towards your left hip bone. What do the microbes who live here want to share with you? What is it that they need for your future to be fully healthy and harmonious with the rest of life on Earth? You can pause the video here if you wish to spend any amount of time along this part of your bowel, which gets far too little love and attention. If you wish, you can continue. At the bottom of your descending colon, it curves inwards and upwards into the sigmoid colon, and then does a sharp bend down to form the rectum, leading to your anus. Ask what this part of your digestive system wants to share, if anything, and share with them anything that you would like. At the end of your digestive system, I invite you to look back at the journey you've just been on through your whole digestive tract, expressing gratitude for the beautiful body that you've been given and all the microbes who live with you, doing all manner of wonderful things to keep you alive. Bring your attention, if you wish, back to your heart area, breathing deeply and resting here for a while, pausing the video if you need to write, draw, move, do whatever you would like and you need to integrate this experience. I invite you also to honor the conversation that you've had with them, if you've had one, by following up on whatever messages you may have been given by your body or your microbes. Drink lots of water or herbal tea. Feel free to repeat this journey however you want, and you're welcome to edit it however you feel is appropriate for you. Please remember to be patient, gentle, and trusting of yourself, because this can be challenging, especially if you've never done this before. Growing your relationship with any aspect of nature is a form of cultural repair. So you've been healing not only our collective past, but you've also been standing at the frontier of dreaming in a future where we live in more harmony with all the life that we have on this beloved earth of ours and beyond, throughout all time and dimensions. Any feedback is most welcome, including critique, and you can email me at saskia@ecofluency.org. More information about Ecofluency is on ecofluency.org on the website. And I invite you to enjoy the rest of the summit. May the future be bold and always guided by love. Goodbye.